Hi, I'm Pete Walen. I'm talking today about a problem that I see with software in general. I've seen different versions of it over the years, but there's one particular one that I'm seeing today that I'm curious about. And maybe you've noticed, because I certainly have, that if you look at job descriptions or notices for senior testers or lead testers or testing managers, they spell out all these things that people need, things like different tools, different languages, things to help you do stuff. But what don't they mention? That's really kind of subtle unless you pay a lot of attention. They don't mention testing. Testing is never brought up. The thing that you're trying to do, that all those tools and languages are helping with, they don't talk about. Now, there could be many reasons, but I've got a sneaky feeling that there's a couple of them. But let's take a look at this. And the core one, I think, is people don't understand what good testing is. They've been told one thing and that's what they expect, and that's that. And by people, I mean things like managers and developers and software testers, because we're told to do something very specific, and that's what we do. And the problem is people don't understand what good testing is. Why might that be? Why is that? Got some ideas. The first is that testing is not a simple checkbox. Most of us have at one time been told if there's one requirement, there's one test case. If there's two requirements, there's two test cases. A simple checkbox kind of thing like that. Other people look at testing as a cookbook. If you do these things all the time, every time, it will be perfect. But that's kind of like trying to go and replicate a really amazing meal that you had at a restaurant or at somebody's home, and you try and replicate the recipe and it fails miserably because there's something that isn't understood. And the thing that often isn't understood is particular skills, whatever those skills are, whatever technique that is being used to make that recipe, that is what I find tends to be missing. And so how do you learn them when it comes to testing? What can you do about it, you as an individual? Simple, build your skills. But what does that mean? And this is way too short of a session to explain all the skills that you need or how to do all of them. But here are some ideas that I normally start with people and say, one is to ask questions. Even if you look foolish, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're sitting in a meeting and you're not sure about something and somebody is talking very confidently, absolutely ask questions, because what I found is that a lot of times when you take things at face value, you're presuming that you're the only one who doesn't understand in the room. Ask, because people are not always clear. Not everybody has the same understanding. Ask, stay observant. Watch what's being said, watch what's not being said, watch what isn't being asked about. Be curious. That goes back to the questions. Always be looking into something a little bit more than might be absolutely necessary. Put yourself in the place of the customer, the people using the software that you're working on. Is the software clear? Is it obvious? Is it easily understandable what to do? You're looking at a screen, you've got a pretty good idea how things are going to work. Try that, see if that works. Be adaptable, be flexible and open to change. Look to see what's going on. Realize that tasks and work and expectations are going to change, sometimes very quickly. In my case, I typically have a list of things that I want to do every day, maybe 8, 9, 10 things. And by noon, I've got things added to that list that are way more important than anything below them. So if I haven't gotten it done, it's probably not going to get done today because there's more important things that have been added. Always be willing and open to change. Be willing to shift. Don't be afraid to push back. Always be polite, but push back. One of the questions that is most important to ask is why. And why is this? Is this more important than this other thing? Be willing to break it. Now, a lot of testers will say, well, yeah, but we're supposed to break software. No, we're supposed to find out how the software behaves. Be willing, when I say it, I mean, look at the rules around things. Be willing to bend them. If you need to break them, then by all means break them, but always do it politely. And if someone says you aren't supposed to do that, then say, I'm sorry, this is what I thought I was trying to do. Here's what I found. If you can always show them something that you found that wouldn't have been found otherwise, then it's like, aha, yeah, there's a reason why I did that. But when you do things or ask questions or explain things, always use language and words that the other people will understand. If we're deep into things, it doesn't matter what it is that we found if we can't help them understand the problem that we found. And when it comes to problems, learn to detect them. Sometimes they're obvious, like a blue screen pops up on your in front of you. Wham! Here we are. Yes, this is bad. We're not supposed to do things this way, but this is what happens. So learn to detect them. I like to look for patterns in software, and if the patterns are inconsistent, that's indicating something. And once you have gotten to the point where you are fairly confident and comfortable with your skills, share them. Easy way. Sit down with people and talk about them. It doesn't need to be a big meeting, doesn't need to be a conference, it could be a group of people that you work with or colleagues, maybe people in the same craft from another company. Meetups of one form or another can pop up all the time, like this. Share the ideas that you've learned, share the ideas that you've picked up, and explain the skills that you've learned and how you learned them. Help other people get better. Help other people to learn and advance and see what's going on. And when you've done that, then you can focus on these other technical things, these languages, these tools, because now that you've built a set of skills that you can use for good testing, you can now apply tools to make your testing even better. Right. That's it. Thank you so much for your attention. Here's my contact information. Twitter, I kind of keep an eye on. LinkedIn, I keep an eye on. Email, yeah, I'm checking that regularly. So go ahead, reach out. I'd love to talk with you about this later. Thank you very much.